Because CFS, the original, it really wasn't called CFS1. It's kind of, now that there is a 2, we'll think of it as 1. It had an unhappy ending. It was a great company that treated its employees wonderfully and did a lot of good. I mean, it touched the lives of 4.5 million people. And we loved that part. Now, the ending was an ending that nobody wanted, that everybody wished we could have avoided, and sadly we didn't, and it occurred. So we have like the rest of the story that now needs to be done. We need to go back and pick up where we left off. So we, Kathy and I, we're proud of CFS. We're proud of what we did. We're proud of how it worked. We're proud of the good we were able to do. We're proud of our employees. We're proud of all of that stuff. And so renaming the new entity, the old name, to us is perfectly logical, perfectly makes sense, and it honors all those 4,000 people who lost their jobs, saying, we're coming back, we're going to go do it again. And we're not ashamed or embarrassed or awkward by the name. If anything, we're proud of the name. So.
What kind of response have you been getting from former employees?
Oh, fantastic. 80% of our former employees are now, well, we have 77 employees, 80% of them are former employees. So the people who are used to work for us are coming back to us. Now, not all of them. Some have moved away. Some have taken different careers. Some have, gone off into different places in their life. But we're just thrilled to death that they're wanting to come back to work for us.
I actually talked to a couple former employees. One's in Des Moines, Iowa right now. Another one's in Tulsa. And they told me they would come back in a heartbeat.
Isn't that nice?
Why?
No,
Why are they saying this? Why?
I think I know, but you never really know. We treated our employees with dignity and respect. We appreciated their value, and some people say we were generous to them. I don't think we were generous. I think we practice a thing called reciprocity. That if two parties do a relationship, if you both give, you both continue to give. And if it's just one party giving, then usually that relationship doesn't work very well. And we practice that. We practice that in our life. We practice that with our employees. And I think that's why 12 years after a company craters in a very ugly ending and indictments and criminal charges, that people 12 years later, you contact independently, say, I would do it in a heartbeat. You go, what other company could that be true of? What other company might you feel that way about? And I'm honored and humbled that they would say that, but I honestly don't know why they do.
That kind of answers your question, your first question as to why CFS too.
Yeah, because you want to bring all the same great feelings about the company back. And will you also have that same corporate culture of free insurance and free on-site daycare, trips to all these fantastic places, the Bahamas, Las Vegas? Is all of that coming back?
Well, I don't want to ever be on film saying yes to a question like that and then not be able to deliver it. So let me say that our culture and our character, Kathy and I, is to be in this mode of reciprocity. So if CFS2 were to become as successful or like CFS1, then of course we would do great things, whatever they might be. I don't know that they would be renting 27 747s to go to Disney World again, but already this summer we took everybody to a Drillers game. So, it's relatively speaking. We're a small company and we're just beginning to make money. So as we grow, of course, we would want to do more.
How fast do you think it'll grow, especially in the financial times we're living, where so many people are in debt?
That's why it will grow, because there are so many people in debt, because the economy is so bad, because this great recession that we all live in right now is so devastating to literally tens of millions of people. We think the business opportunity is bigger than it ever was for the original CFS.
Because somebody I had talked to had mentioned you guys were booming at a time when the economy was great. And your whole business model is trying to get people out of debt.
Yeah, our economy, well, the business works better when the economy is bad. Well, CFS1 started when the economy is bad and continued to do well even when the economy started improving. Imagine how much better we can do because we're finding a really, really bad economy. Now, I'm sorry the economy is so bad, but quite frankly, that's going to be very, very opportune for our business.
So you guys currently have 77 employees.
Correct.
How many more do you plan to hire within the next year?
We have now space in this building for up to 200 employees. So in the next several months, we will fill that. Beyond that will be in the next decision. And that probably is a month or so away before we're really ready to make that announcement.
How can people contact CFS2 if they want to work here?
It's pretty simple. Jobs@cfstwo.com.
Jobs at
CFS
CFS.
TWO is the way we,
Okay.
correct.
.com. .com. Okay. I was across the street as a student in 1998 when all of this happened
Okay.
here. So please walk me through it. What happened?
It is a great story and a sad story, and mostly great stories have sad stories, kind of like a Greek tragedy. Things go wonderful, and then all of a sudden they go not so wonderful. Starting from a kitchen table in Muskogee, Oklahoma, Kathy and I were lucky enough to be at the right place at the right time. Created a business that grew to 3,900 employees. Now, it took 12 years to do that, so it wasn't like we clicked our fingers and overnight it all happened. But within 12 years, we had 3,900 employees and became a billion-dollar business. In 1998, our business partner did something that I'm sure he regrets having done. He committed what turned out to be a crime, and he was put in prison. He was ordered to pay $1 billion in restitution. Now, when a financial-based company has a senior member of management committing a crime, it really crashes the company. Kind of, I use the example of Arthur Andersen. When Arthur Andersen, a great, venerable, Big Four accounting firm with hundreds of thousands of employees and been around for 112 years, when they got accused of one thing, it killed the entire company almost in an afternoon. Well, that's what happened to CFS. Our former partner did commit a crime, and he did go to prison. He did pay he hasn't paid the $1 billion in restitution yet, and that literally cratered the company.
Some people still believe that you played a part in that activity.
And I welcome their skepticism, and I honor that. I know that people are entitled to have whatever view they want to have about the facts. Most of us think O.J. Simpson was guilty. None of us know. None of us were there. None of us really paid attention to the facts. None of us know the legal background of the issues. And I respect everybody's right to have their own opinion of whatever it is. In my case, unlike O.J., I not only got it 12 people unanimously acquitting me after hearing all the evidence, but then later the federal government actually apologized. O.J. never got one of those.
Will you have safeguards in place then at CFS2 to make sure something like that doesn't happen again?
Yeah, absolutely. Now, to put it in context, the thing that we didn't do well is we had a person who made a mistake. And that's really hard to avoid, honestly. It really is. People are people at the end of the day, and they can all do whatever they choose to do. So yes, firstly, the first thing is we're not going to have any partners. That's step number one. Step number two, we're going to have better internal controls so that if somebody were to do something, we would see it earlier.
What exactly was he found guilty of?
He was found guilty of doing, I guess, what would be tantamount to insider trading. He created his own separate, distinct company of which he was the owner, and that company was doing business with CFS. And it's arguable whether that was even illegal. What was the problem is he didn't tell anybody. Having his own company and doing his own thing probably would have been permissible had he disclosed and told Wall Street and our accounting firms and our law firms and the investors that he was doing that. It was because he didn't share the information that everybody reacted the way they did.
Have you had a chance to talk to Mr. Jones?
I have not. The last time I saw him was 12 years ago in a courtroom, a federal courtroom here in Tulsa, where he testified at my trial. So I've not yet had an opportunity to speak with him. If I were, I would tell him I forgive him.
Do you know what he's doing now?
No, I do not.
So no contact with him whatsoever since
No,
12 years ago?
No, he, bless his heart, he made a decision and it turned out to be not a very good one.
So after you were acquitted, what did you do?
There's probably different versions of that story for a while. When it first happened, you are almost shell-shocked. You know, it's almost like surreal. You don't know what just happened. And you know, you're conscious, you're aware, you're awake, you're an intelligent, theoretically an intelligent person. So you know what really factually happened, but your senses don't get it. You know, you go like, how could this happen? How could we be up here and then drop to the bottom so quickly? And some of our associates and friends vanished. That happens. But the good news is more of them stayed, more of them stuck with us. So during the first year or two, it was mostly just Kathy and I just kind of getting ready for what we saw coming. And that was us literally going into bankruptcy. So you go from the 25th wealthiest people in America, where Kathy's on the cover of Forbes magazine, and actually ahead of me in the Forbes 400, which I'm still a little envious of. And then you become the 25th brokest people in America. I don't know if that's really a word, but we're in Oklahoma, I can use that. Grammar rules don't apply, and I'm good with that. That's why I like it here.
Did you, at the time that CFS went under, have hopes of rebuilding it again?
No. Kathy and I have talked about it from time to time, of recent, since we started CFS too. Did you ever really think we'd do this? Did you ever really think we'd go back and do it? And the answer is always, no. We never really thought so.
So when did the idea pop into your head?
Well, a couple of things happened. Over the course of years, other people would approach us saying, oh, please go do it again. Former employees, investors, people who actually lost money when CFS 1 crashed have contacted us saying, why don't you go do it again? The economy is so ready for you to go do it again. And we mostly pushed those away, saying, no, thank you, been there, done that, really don't want to go back and do it again. And then we saw the economy skidding, where it literally just didn't get better. A year ago, if you would have asked me, do I think it's going to stay bad, I would have said no. We just passed an $817 billion stimulus program, and I thought, like everybody else thought, that's going to fix it. This economy is going to get good, and if the economy is really good, what the business we do isn't real timely. Well, when we see the economy going this way, we looked at it and said, two different things are happening. One, there's an economic opportunity, and we see and recognize that. And two, there are more people in debt today than ever in history. And those people mostly are being treated badly. They're being treated like deadbeats. And debt collection companies are yelling and screaming and ranting and raving and swearing and using all kinds of whatever against them. And we said, that isn't what CFS did. You know, we were actually the other guy doing it a completely different. Maybe that's why we need to go do it again. Because there are so many people that are in debt that somebody needs to go help them. And I'm not taking on the role or the job of the guy on a white horse and ride to the rescue. I'm not the cavalry. But we're just people who have an attitude of how to do this.
So give me an example of how you can help somebody who's, let's say, $20,000 in credit card debt.
Well, Krista, it would work like this. If you were that person, if you were $20,000 in credit card debt and you lost your job or had a medical calamity or God knows whatever might have happened to you and you couldn't pay your bills, the bank would be not very understanding. The bank would be not very forgiving. The bank is pretty rigid in their little square box. Everything's got to fit one norm. They would mostly send your account over to a collection agency who would be equally unsympathetic. And they would eventually raise their tone and raise their voice, and you couldn't pay. You just don't have $20,000 anymore. Well, if we buy that debt, we go to the bank and we buy that debt. We buy Krista's debt from the bank, and we only pay, pick a number, 10 cents on the dollar. And we pay $2,000 for that debt. Now when we call you up, we can work a deal with you that you can afford to do, that will fit your new budget, your reduced budget, that you never could have said yes to if the bank were the one asking the money.
And that's how CFS makes its money?
Yes. If we buy your debt for $2,000 and we settle with you for $3,000,
it's a win-win for everyone.
Oh, you made $17,000 or saved $17,000, so you're tickled to death. And we just made a great profit on a $2,000 investment, made $1,000 extra money. Now magnify that by 1,000 or 10,000 or 1 million. We had 4.5 million customers last time.
When your debt goes away, then it's gone. Nobody else can come back and say, you only paid X amount on it, you need to pay more. It's gone forever.
Yeah.